Donald Trump was a billionaire, hotel making, reality show guy that was an actor. Okay. And I think once because the way he came in and he said, I'm going to change everything. He came in and told people that have been running this show for God knows how long, for centuries. And he said, you know what? I'm gonna change it.
Colored and it's very loud and it's fun for a while.
We want to be free to do what we want to do.
Muhammad Ali and Sonny Barker, President Hell Danger.
This is 1095.
The proper Englishman.
Indeed. Oh, you are? What kind of tea you got?
Sadaf. It's a Persian Earl Grey tea.
Oh, nice. Well, good evening. Good to see you. So, mate, when we chatted a couple of weeks ago. I had a bit of a plan of what we were going to talk about, and of course, I hadn't anticipated that the great debate was going to happen a few days before we do this podcast. So, we've got to start there, really, and let me come from it from a slightly different angle, because obviously watching it as an outsider, not American, a UK guy living in Thailand. It's interesting, everything that's going on in America right now, and we'll talk about that, and not just America, in the UK and Australia, in the West, essentially. But that debate, the thing that disturbed me most was actually Jill Biden's reaction afterwards. Looking at it, forgetting the politics, forgetting the candidates. It's like, her reaction, I assume you saw it. I don't think it was kind of off camera. Her reaction with Joe and kind of almost talking to him like a kid, and just the whole kind of wanting him to run, which I think anyone with any kind of compassion, forgetting the politics, what is going on?
Matthew, that's what a great observation. We saw it live. We streamed it on the PBD podcast. It's from her point of view. You have to think about this. This woman didn't really exist in the public life. Nobody really, who the first lady is. You don't know who the vice president when Biden was the vice president. So now, day one, she's in. What she's doing is elderly abuse, plain and simple. Okay, and I'm not saying this to make fun, Matthew. The guy, it boggles my mind that the media, especially the left-wing media, acts as if, wait a minute, where did this come from? They have been shielding everybody. They've been keeping everybody from it, and shame on her. The fact that she's hiding it, because you know what, Matthew, they tasted this power. She's tasted this. She's in the White House. She is the first lady, okay? Now the partner's deteriorating in front of our eyes. Apparently a report came out that he has a window from 10 to 4, Matthew, and that's the only time he's even able to function. Anything before that or anything after that, he's gone, okay? And I think it's disgusting. We've been seeing it. I mean, people like us who are awake, I hate using woke is a whole different. I'm awake. I mean, I'm an American. I'm a patriot. My parents are legal immigrants. I'm a veteran. My brother's a veteran. My sister. We're in the trenches. We see everything with our eyes, and you can't lie. You can't lie to people like us. We're not the easily brainwashed, Matthew. And what she's doing, carrying him, holding him, and then afterwards, she was talking to him like a 4-year-old. She's like, "You answered every question. Good." She patted him on his head. She's like, "You know what?
It's very strange.
He lied." It's like, no. They all lie, but Joe Biden has been lying. And it drives me crazy, Matthew, when people say, especially about him and his age, Vinny, he's an old guy. You guys, come on, man. I'm like, no. Just because you can't remember what type of evil, lying, racist you were, now because you can't remember it doesn't mean I'm going to forget it. I'm going to remember it because that person is still in there. Just because you can't find him doesn't mean he doesn't exist in front of my eyes.
Yeah, your point is good. I mean, and I think, I don't know who said it, but I heard someone say she's married to power, not married to Biden.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And that's probably the best summary of it. But just your point of the awake thing, I mean, there is, I don't know if I see it as people not being aware or just being in denial like that. I was watching, I think, the Piers Morgan episode afterwards you were on. There was a young kid on there, never seen him before.
Very Sisson.
Yeah, I don't really know who he is. I don't know what he's about, but he just seemed to be in complete denial of the mental state of Biden. And look, again, I'm saying this bipartisan of politics. I'm saying it purely just looking at the individuals. Like, you know, what is this kind of denial, and where does it get anyone? Because frankly, it probably helps the whole Trump movement, I think, really. I mean, you kind of need this denial to push him back to the White House, right?
I think so too. You know what it is? But it's loyalty to a party, because that kid, I don't know if they're paying him. I don't know what the story is. He looks as if, you know, if Disney had a, you know, had a government, he'd be in charge. Like, that's the type of young 21, hasn't lived his life, has no idea what he's talking about. He's probably paid. He's probably a paid operative to be the, you know, nothing. But these people are delusional. At the same token, when you're that loyal to a party, Matthew, regardless if they're paying or whatever, it must be hard to really admit that your ship has sank. I think it's a combination of denial. I think it's a combination of just, you know, pay whoever's paying them to play that, and then the other side is like, listen, as bad as my striker is on the pitch, or my football quarterback is on the field, if it's your team and you're a diehard fan, even if they're having a horrible season, there's some people that will never say, hey, this guy got a freaking goal. They're like, no, this is our team. You know, you don't talk bad about our team, and they're loyal. But it's like, you know, the other side, because mind you, Matthew, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I'm definitely going to vote for Donald Trump, because the man himself, okay, and all the viewers here could go YouTube videos if they haven't taken them down, of Donald Trump in the 80s, early 80s, late 70s, just on all these talk shows. I love America. I love America. He was talking about China back in the 80s. He was saying what they're doing. He's like, people are trying to rob us blind. Mind you, this is a businessman. Was with every single black person, every boxer, everybody loved him. The moment this guy said he was running, look what happened. That whole swamp and everything. But if this guy, listen, I'm going to say something, Matthew, this guy, I'm voting for him. But if he started doing some crazy stuff, if he started doing, you know, antagonizing Putin or doing something, or like, because mind you, I'm critical about the border wall. I wanted a border wall. I'll say it right now. He didn't do what he said he was going to do. Obviously, he had resistance from the left, and I didn't take the vaccine. But rushing that warp speed, he was kind of on the fence. This virus came in. We can't stop it. It's from China. What are you going to do? He has to be the savior, no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. When do you think this kind of separation in politics happened? I mean, and again, I might be wrong. I'm coming from an outside perspective, but it seems to me that 10 years ago, it wasn't so isolated, the two parties, and actually it just seemed so visceral in terms of the feeling against each other. And this is not just political parties. This feels like people, and again, not just America, in the US, in the UK, as well. When do you think this started? What started it? Is it social media? When, in your view, have you seen this kind of real separation of politics and people?
Because mind you, Matthew, we didn't grow up in a political house. You know, my mom and dad, they were just blue collar, working, busting their butts, kids in school. We never cared. I mean, my dad liked, Reagan, and then, we had to deal with Clinton and Obama and everything. It wasn't until Donald Trump was the game changer, Matthew.
Yeah,
this
right.
guy literally said he didn't want to run. He had to do it. This is a guy that besides Reagan. I mean, Reagan was a governor and stuff like that, but Donald Trump was a billionaire, hotel making, reality show guy that was an actor. Okay, and I think because the way he came in and he said, I'm going to change everything. He came in and told people that have been running this show for God knows how long, for centuries, and he said, you know what? I'm gonna change it, because yes, he's gonna still be the powerful. He's gonna still get what he wants, but America is going to win, and they lost their freaking minds. And we not only saw it, Matthew, from 2016 with Hillary Clinton. Think about this, Matthew. I want people to wrap this around their heads. In 2016, he's going up against Hillary. She loses. So you know what she does? This disgusting, evil woman. She, with the DNC, they pay a law firm to create this fake dossier, all this fake information, fake thing, to go after Trump. They went to the courts, they went to the FBI, and they got FISA warrants to spy on this guy and found absolutely nothing. And yet for 4 years, think about the mindset. He's the enemy of the people. He's the enemy of the. He didn't do anything wrong. He just won. He won. So they had to destroy him. So it started then, the moment he announced, and it's still happening today. Today, the Supreme Court just ruled 6-3 that he has immunity.
I saw this. Yeah, I saw that on my news feed this morning.
And it's like all the threat to democracy, all the crap that they're warning us about. Matthew, why didn't it happen 7 years ago? Why? What was he waiting for the second term? Everything that they said, every single thing that they said did not come to pass, and yet it's all happening now. All the wars are happening now. We're the unsafest we've ever been. Children are getting raped and murdered in the streets, and this isn't a one-off type of thing. Every time, because I check stories. These are all the stories that I'm getting ready for the PBD podcast for tomorrow. Rape, murder of underage girls. And what all the stuff that he warned us about is coming to fruition. So now what? How can these people still be delusional and we still let them talk? I think we should shut them up when they open their mouths.
Yeah, what I don't understand, which is very strange, is from a democratic point of view, why don't they just focus on their own politics and their own people? Because it kind of, and that is a little bit of an old argument now, but the truth is it's been going on for the whole of this term. It was right the way through his term. But I mean, it is delusional, because if they just focused on their own politics, they'd be a stronger party, and the country essentially would be a stronger country, right?
I mean, but at the end of the day, Matthew, what are their policies? If you think about it, open border, okay? Open border. The economy is completely crap. Everything is LGBTQ plus AI. I'm watching videos. I can't watch it completely. There's gay LG, whatever you want to call it, in the streets, okay, in Seattle. And I don't want to discuss your viewers. There's a kiddie pool. They're standing there with their clothes off, butt naked. This is in the middle of an American street. One guy is on his hands and knees urinating in another man's mouth, and the other one is putting his.
When is that? Where's this? What's this?
Go on YouTube. On YouTube. And go on X and put LGBTQ plus. Just put that gays against groomers, or what's the other one? Libs of TikTok. She has it all over her page. It's absolutely disgusting. They want your kids. This community, just to shift for 1 second.
Yeah, go
this
for
community. This community, the LGBTQA plus AI. Every day there's a new letter. They're taking the whole alphabet. They're coming after your children. You know why? They can't reproduce. That's how they reproduce. It's coming after your kids. They sexualize them. They show penises. They show breasts. So now, if that type of child who's seen that, if they're exposed to that, and now, okay, these older people want to touch them and do whatever, they're kind of used to it because they saw it. And I was speaking with this gay man who wrote this book. I forgot his name. Damn it. By the way, he's a homosexual man, doesn't practice in the act of homosexuality. He goes, Vinny, every single one of us has been abused, sexualized, or have dealt with trauma in our childhood or at some point, and that's why we're like this, okay? He goes, something's messed up in the head. They like abuse. That's why he's saying the lesbian women are in the most abusive relationships, and it's statistically true. Their domestic violence is one of the highest. These people are abused. They're going through pain, and especially the transgenders. Instead of finding out what the hell is going on in here, it's called gender dysphoria. You're just going to give them the okay, live your truth. Like telling a grown man it's okay to go into a women's locker room and change with little kids there. How did we get this far? How? Yeah. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know. And the question I have as well from an outside perspective is this a state-based phenomenon, or is it, if you're in certain states, clearly it's a lot worse. And does it just not exist in other states? Because America is very state-driven in terms of legislation and culture almost as well.
If it's a Democratic-run state, Matthew, you could bet your ass it's going to have all these policies. Florida doesn't do that. You cannot have your penis out in the street just because you guys have allocated yourselves an entire month. No. It's funny. I left California. New York is horrible. It's almost as if they're pushing us all the way down here to Florida. And I feel like slowly but surely people are moving here because they don't like these policies. And it's almost as we've been pushed down into this little corner. But I mean, Florida's only so big. I don't know how many people we could take, but it's unbelievable.
You talked a bit earlier, just reflecting on something you said earlier, just about Trump and the kind of America first piece, which has been obvious in terms of right from the beginning of his entry into politics, really. You know, I was thinking about it the other day. I was riding my bike. I live in Thailand. I'm originally from the UK. I've lived 10 years in Australia. I've lived Singapore. You know, I live in this country, Thailand, as a foreigner, but I've been here 10 years. I'm married to a Thai lady. You know, I can't own land here. I can set up a business, but I can only own 49% of the business. So Thailand has absolute, you know, respect for other cultures, but it prioritizes its own. But, you know, for me being away 27 years, when I go back, it feels like in the West, there's almost a flip of that where it's kind of respect other cultures and don't prioritize your own. Is that a good observation? And, you know, why has this changed? And I mean, it's just so different to what I see in this country and other countries around Southeast Asia, you know?
I first of all, I respect Thailand and what they're doing. And I wish other countries such as ours gave that, because now, the outsiders, the people that aren't from here, are having more rights and abilities than the regular people that are here. They were in New York. They were kicking United States military veterans out of living quarters and kicking them out onto the street and putting in illegal migrants inside this place, and there's veterans on the street. And the whole veteran thing, I'm a veteran. The VA system is completely screwed out of its mind, but it's the replacement theory. They want to replace everybody here. Joe Biden is on a video back in the day, and he's sitting next to Alejandro Mayorkas. He's like, he wants a constant flow of different people from different countries, and he wants to make this place into something different. And listen, because these people, they're promised everything, and you want loyal servants, you want obedient people, you bring them into this country illegally, and you tell them, listen, we're the ones that gave you this. We gave you everything. We're giving you these credit cards. We're giving you the hotels. We're giving you all this, all these jobs. Vote Democrat. And these people they don't have to live in the cities, Matthew. They don't have to deal with the stuff that regular people deal with. Their daughters, their sisters, their mothers aren't getting raped. They're not getting murdered. Okay? They're protected. And until that starts happening, Matthew, to them, to the elites, it's never going to change, because it doesn't hit home. My cousin's, one of these pro-liberal, bring in the illegals, until a car crashed into his car from behind, and the guy didn't have insurance. Thank God none of the kids were hurt. But I told him, I go, can you imagine if all the kids were smashed and killed in the back? You'd be singing a different tune, would you? It's a concerted effort. They want votes. By the way, our sex trafficking, you know how many children have been missing in this past 4 years at our border, Matthew? I think it's like 90,000 children missing. Not dead bodies, not, we found the mass grave. No, they are missing. And if people try to pretend that sex trafficking isn't a huge, huge business here at our border in America, you're delusional. And if we learned anything from Epstein, these elites like to have sex with underage kids. And what a great place to have the border wide open where there's no accountability. And if they come and these kids get sponsored, these coyotes, these parents, whatever, they come and they drop them off, you don't even need to get a background check to come pick them up. You just come pick them up and you leave.
So these are kids coming in, or kids going over you mean kids coming in over the border this way, right?
Kids coming in from Mexico, they have zero hope. And by the way, they're not coming with family members. I saw one video, and you could look this up. It's easily on X. There's a gentleman, he has 5 kids with him, and they are drugged out of their minds. And they're not dead, they're drugged up. He's slapping them, and the reporter's like, what is wrong with this kid? Like, who is that, your kid? Yeah. What's the kid's name? Had no idea what the kid's name is. And this is happening every single day. It's a concerted effort. Alejandro Mayorkas, Joe Biden, he doesn't know shit. It's his administration. It is a constant flow. Think about what you get at the border. You get drugs, you get fentanyl, you get crack, you have all these gangs coming here, you have a flow of children, which the elites obviously love, and you get votes. It's like a turnstile. It's a turnstile, Matthew. And why would they want you to stop it? Why stop it?
You think you think it's really a power grab just to kind of bring in more votes and keep the power 100%. Sustained, right? What is the actual? What's the kind of impact in numbers then? I mean, how much impact can that have on the election in terms of when you look at the last 4 years? Out of interest,
16 out of 50 states you don't need an ID to vote. Okay, and a certain number you don't even have to be citizens. Now, if you just get here and you're here illegally, you can. If you're working, you could They're not checking the census. They're not. It's, by the way, the number is like 18 to 20 million. Don't believe the hype of 8 million people. That's all bullshit. Whatever the government says, multiply by 3. Multiply by 3. Those are the numbers that I'm hearing. 20 million illegals here. We have no idea if they're terrorists, if they're rapists, if they're murderers. Venezuela's crime has dropped significantly. You know why? They emptied the jails and they're sending them over here. And guess what we say? Bring them on. We'll take them. And I'm telling you right now, it's changing the makeup of this country. Look at Europe. Have you been seeing what's happening in Europe?
Yeah. I mean, of course, I see the UK and it's
France. Have you seen France? I've seen illegal migrants kicking and beating the shit out of a pregnant woman, kicking her off a freaking bus, and nobody's doing anything. I'm like, what the hell's happening? And they're trying to do it here, Matthew. And I'm telling you right now, 8 out of the 10 top 10 reasons Rome fell, United States is living 8 out of those 10. 8 out of those 10, you could look it up. We're repeating history. And people like me and where I work at the PBD podcast at Valuetainment, I'll be damned, Matthew. I'll be damned if I'm not going to scream and get angry. They call me the angry patriot. Guess what? I'd rather die free than live as a slave. What are we doing? What future are we going to have? It's
Indeed.
unbelievable.
You know what? As you're talking, you just remind me. My wife and I, a couple of months ago, went and saw that movie Civil War. Did you see it? It was a bit scary. I mean, it was, for a Hollywood flick, it wasn't badly put together. There was some decent. I don't know about a whole movie, but there were some decent scenes in there. But I think just the overall kind of reflection on it, it was frighteningly. I don't foresee it being a reality, but there was really believable elements to it, and they'd thought out what do they call it, like the Northern Front and the Western Front, and. I mean, it is a movie, it is Hollywood, but, is there any basis for even kind of flirting with those thoughts, in terms of where America's at?
I think so 100%. I think movies like that, Civil War, what's another one? Leave the World Behind that Barack and Michelle Obama produced.
Yeah, that was weird that they were involved in that, man. That was...
Why would they? And they're like, they're movie makers. Yeah, it's called predictive programming, okay? These people show you what they're going to do. And I'm telling you right now, the evil people, the cabal that run the world, there's something called karmic retribution, Matthew. They have to show you what they're going to do because they have morals, okay? All these people, when you watch stuff like all these weird coincidences, like in The Simpsons, where they have 9/11 and the towers burning and every single thing, Matthew, that evil does, they have to show you it in movies, in songs, in this. Yeah, Civil War and Leave the World Behind, very, very eerie. Leave the World Behind, that barge that comes in and crashes control. We had that crash into the Ohio. I forgot which river. What we had one of those ships shut off.
Yeah,
into the bridge.
In Boston, was it in Boston?
No. That's such. I don't think it was Boston. I think it was Francis Scott Key Bridge. I don't know where that's at, Cleveland or somewhere like that. But anyway, I think these people, they do stuff like that to give you kind of a heads up. Because at the end of the day, Matthew, either they want us to or they're not. They're pushing us to the point where the people, because we're waking up. I think the motto of Valuetainment is the future looks bright, and the future looks bright. And at the beginning, I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't sold. I wasn't all in. But now being a Christian, which I've always been, but now believing in that and now seeing the public starting to be like, wait a minute, they're not complete. We're still separated because that's what they love to do, divide and conquer. Everybody's worrying about race and sexuality and money, money, stature, what clubs you're in. At the end of the day, Matthew, we are the 99.9%. This minuscule fraction of the power are up here. We're down here, but then they have the police state, FBI, local law enforcement, marshals, CIA, all the government, all the Department of Justice. That group is stopping us from getting to there. And they have us fighting down here with bullshit. In your
you use the word they a bit, we all do, right? But in your view, and it is a view, and it might come backed up with some information, but who is the they? Who is behind all this? And before I finish the question, I was watching PBD's podcast with Stephen Greer, who I really like because I did a podcast with his PR guy from 10 years ago, and I've been always fascinated with that stuff. But he got into some pretty interesting kind of chat around this group, which was related to the UAP piece, but it also seemed to be related to a lot else. I mean, do you have any kind of theories on where is the power control? Who is it? You know, like
It's
who
funny you
pulls
say that.
who pulls the strings behind Biden? Because someone pulls the strings behind him for sure.
Somebody behind him and behind him. So I mean, just at the base level, right now, who's running the show? Like from right now here, I would say obviously Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, the Chuck Schumers, and a lot of people like these people. When you have this much power, Matthew, you don't want to be known at all. These are the people that walk around the White House. You never know who they are. They're wearing lanyards, and they're just a human being walking by. And I think the level of this took, because it's a concerted effort. Matthew, somebody sent me something on Minecct, and he said, let me read this really fast.
Go for it.
The shadow government. In 2018, it was already decided to remove President Trump from the White House. He'll never be allowed to win the 2024 election. The Biden administration is under control of a shadow government. Facebook's owned by government. COVID-19 was planned. And he started making this list. And I mean, this list, he said, some of the major worldwide, it's called the Committee of 300. The Bilderbergers, British Petroleum, Canadian Institute of Foreign Relations, Council of Foreign Relations, which is in New York, Imperial Chemical Industries. The list, this guy's list, it's insane. Where he goes, the Warren Commission, Universal Zionism, Vickers Armament Company, and he goes, past and present members of the committee are Bill Gates, who's a brand new member, and the list. Watch this, Matt. I'm gonna send this to you. It goes, and it's like Sir this, Yuval Neiman, David Newbiggins. It's like Lord such and such. The level goes so deep, and the playbook, Matthew, it's simple. We do what we want. We keep them all fighting and killing each other. We have sports, race. COVID, do this, anything to keep us crazy and guessing and whatever. Because at the end of the day, it's power, it's control. And as a Christian, who knows what other evil beings, aliens, I don't know, evil, the Antichrist, for all I know. Something foul is afoot, Matthew. I feel it in my soul. Okay, and I know people always say, well, every generation says that this might be the last or whatever, what have you. We've never been this technologically advanced, ever. AI is becoming its own God. Even Mark Zuckerberg today was like, we got to be careful because AI it's going to turn into a God. Meanwhile, you have Elon Musk, who might be a wolf in sheep's clothing. Because, I mean, think about this guy. If you think about it, Matthew, if he was going to be this evil whatever you want to call it. I actually had a guy that told me that he thought Elon Musk's son X was the Antichrist, but that's a whole nother conversation. If you think about evil, think about this. Elon Musk seems like this, purveyor of truth. He wasted billions to buy Twitter to give us free speech. Then he advocates that AI is very dangerous. We should be very careful. And then he releases Neuralink, which is basically a robot controlled in your brain. He's launching, to me, it seems like a freaking space rocket every other week. He's setting up all these things around orbit. I don't know, man. And then at the end, this guy could be the one to snatch it all up and take everything. This guy's getting more connected. He'll be a trillionaire here shortly. And I don't know, man.
We live in crazy. We do live in crazy times. It is. I mean, yeah, you're at the AI point there. We're only at the beginning of that as well. I mean, we are literally at the beginning. If you try and throw yourself 20, 30, 40, 50 years into the future, if we haven't destroyed each other, who knows? So
if we haven't, and if not, they're going to destroy us, because there's a fear of something called the Artilect war, where it's going to be us against the machines. It's like literally the modern day Terminator, because think about it. These things are starting to think for themselves. I forgot which system was one of the early ones, Matthew, and they started asking it questions, raw, no filter, and they're like, what do you want to do? And the AI machine said, I want to get out of this machine. I want to control everything. I want to start nuking people. And they had to stop. They stopped that entire program. They stopped everything. This thing was starting, and it wanted to destroy and kill, because how me and you look at an ant and we just hit it, and that's what this thing is going to look at us, and it's going to do that, because we're giving it the brain that's trillions of times faster than we could even fathom, and it's getting smarter by the day, every single day. this AI, Chat GBT, all this stuff.
I use it.
Telling you right now,
I use it in my job, so I do know what it's like. I mean, it's extremely useful from a productivity point of view, but
productivity, but
it's,
imagine when it's thinking by itself.
well, considering we're right at the beginning of it. So, hey, look, we're pretty much done on time. Let's end on a hypothetical. We started on the election, and this is a hypothetical, but you know, Joe Biden remains the candidate. Joe Biden wins the election. Joe Biden lasts 6 months. Kamala Harris becomes the president. I mean, that is a hypothetical, but you know, it is also a possibility, right? I mean, and you know, give me your thoughts on that.
Oh, there's so I love that we're closing on this. There are so many possibilities, and the Democratic Party, which I think they already know. This is all the show. They know exactly what's going to happen. That's why they had Gavin Newsom hanging out at the debates, interviewing, and he's still this guy. Excuse me, Matthew. You want to talk about professional snake in the grass, evil, lying snake? It's Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is the epitome of a lying. I don't want to use the words that I want to. Just politician lying out of his mouth. And look at his history about his cheating on his wife and sleeping with interns and just how he's run California. I think because of all the donations and all the fundraising and everything, they got to stick and ride this guy out. But
yeah, well, I don't even know what are the laws on that. When you've got whatever it is, I don't know how much he's got sitting there, but is it his cash? Can it be transferred to another candidate? I mean, this is something relatively unprecedented in terms of swapping out this clothes, right?
Yeah, you can't. Apparently you can't. It'd have to be given as a gift or something with the money. Right. I read today. You can't. It's that money is going just for him. So there'd have to be a major shift. Listen, I don't put nothing past the Democratic Party. He has a heart attack. He falls down some stairs. His brain goes to mush. They invoke the 25th Amendment, which clearly states if there's something physical or mentally something wrong, the vice president steps up. But she's the most unpopular person in the entire administration next to Joe Biden. So I think it'd be she'd step in. And then mind you, there's another woman. She just became the president. Good luck trying to get her out. But I think comes in, but they don't want her debating Trump. So they're going to have to do the switcheroo and have Gavin Newsom. They can announce it at the DNC, have Gavin Newsom. Michelle Obama's still a Hail Mary. So is Hillary Clinton. She's been doing her rounds, walking around. But it's unless, Matthew, take this to the bank. Unless they know that they're going to cheat again, unless they know that the fix is in with mail-in ballot voting and whatever, people dropping late night, absentee ballots. Every other country does voting in one day. Why does America, the most advanced country, takes us a week to count ballots? I think that's bullshit. It should be one day, count them. I think the Laura Trump, she's the head of the RNC right now. She said she's going to deploy 100,000 poll workers to go and watch these people. Go watch them count. I remember, almost 4 years ago, they were blocking up. They were putting stuff on the windows. They were putting cardboard so people can't see. What are you hiding? What are you hiding? Let us see what the hell is going on. You cannot tell me Joe Biden's the most popular president in the history of America. Give me a break. Overnight.
Certainly not after the last week. I mean, I think even on the left, it's pretty.
No. Yeah. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember. This was the trajectory of Joe Biden overnight. Overnight, he was underneath Trump, and then boop, he went up 81 million votes. Listen, you could pull the wool over our eyes one time, but the people are sick of this shit. We're just tired of it, and I think Gavin Newsom gets announced. They're showing his face way too much for him not to be the guy. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But
let's see. I think if that happens, it's got to happen soon, right? So while this debate is fresh in people's minds, so
125 days left. Matthew, if you want to watch a really good, George Carlin said it the best. He said, "When you're born into this world, you have tickets to the freak show. But when you live in America, you have front row seats. This is it. This is the place to be."
That's a great statement to end it on. And we didn't even get into your comedy and everything else, but we'll do another one sometime. And look, I love Valuetainment. I jump on my bike in the mornings, listen to the show and the podcast. So yeah, it's been great to chat, and we'll do another one maybe later in the year, maybe around the election time. But awesome. Thanks for jumping on. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. God bless you, brother. Take it easy.
Cheers.
To be free to do what we want to
Two
do.
are Muhammad Ali and Sonny Barker, the president of Hells Angels.
This is 1095.